Carwyn Jones was the Minister for Energy when this was introduced. And now we have contradictory statements from him, not me, Gov. How many of the Assembly members that represented our area challenged the strategic search areas? Large areas of Wales were excluded from consideration by features that militate against larger wind power developments. In particular, large wind power proposals within a national park or designated areas of outstanding beauty would be contrary to well-established planning policy. And thus, strategic search areas have not been considered for these areas. So in other words, ladies and gentlemen, let's look after these areas and saturate the countryside of Montgomeryshire and Powys. And we've already heard from the WI, Powys Paradwys Cymru. They knew us when they wanted to ruin our countryside, but don't want to know us in Cardiff when we are pressing the Welsh Assembly government for other considerations. Then their knowledge is no further or higher up in Wales than Merthyr Tydfil.
Either by accident, but I guess more by design, I failed to find the word pylon mentioned in this report at all. Just a vague reference to high voltage cables being carried on a pole-mounted system. Were our Welsh Assembly politicians and the consultants they contracted to draw up TAN 8 really so naive and unaware that the number of turbines they were planning for Mid Wales could actually be carried on a pole-mounted system? Or were they just being arrogant and insensitive to the people of Mid Wales and Shropshire that they really believed they would be able to build a substation, miles of pylons and lines throughout our beautiful counties when the time came and with little resistance? Well, they certainly got that wrong.
Mr. Chairman, before I came into this meeting, I stood outside with the good people outside, and a local businessman in my area came up to me, and he owns a caravan site. And he asked me to share what he told me with the rest of the people today. This time last year, he had sold £350,000 worth of caravans. This year to date, he hasn't sold one. When people come into Wales, all they can see are those horrible signs saying, "Pylons coming this way, beware." About 6 months ago, we had a presentation by the portfolio holder and officers regarding TAN 8, and we were told that communities would be compensated. I remember standing up and saying to them, "What about the people who aren't compensated?" And, "Oh, no, 70% go to those directly, who are directly affected, and 30% of those are indirectly affected." Mr. Chairman, that's nonsense. That's just a mere bribe to have them built. I believe that all of Powys are directly affected, and no amount of compensation is going to be enough.
I do also have some food for thought for the planning committee, whatever it may be. A local business in Four Crosses applied for planning permission for some advertisement boards to be put upon its property following the opening of the bypass. Despite the support of the community council, the application was refused with the following comments. It is considered that the additional advertisement by reason of their numbers, scale and proportions, area of coverage, location, orientation, colour, external finishes and height above ground level would result in an incremental cluttering effect which would harm the visual amenity of the immediate vicinity. So I do hope that the planning department, whatever it may be, will take note of the comments made if and when any applications are received for wind farms and pylons. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
There is an interesting phenomenon of objecting to plans after it's too late, and many councillors have thrown their hands up in horror when it's happened in all sorts of places regarding all sorts of issues. Today, we are just in time. To the people who are worried, terrified about what the future holds, please believe we stand shoulder to shoulder with you. To the Welsh Government, on the verge of becoming a one-party state, please listen to those of us who have a different point of view. And to Westminster, for heaven's sake, don't make an enemy of Wales. It's not what the Welsh people want.
But there's also other parts of both England as well as Wales that are quite likely to be affected by this, and I don't think people fully understand that. If these components at the moment, we are being told, will be brought in through Ellesmere Port, now that means they're coming a long way away from us, and they will affect large parts of England as well as other parts of Wales.
I would ask the Welsh Government to examine 3 important documents: the Strategic Environment Assessment, Integrated Impact Assessment and Health Impact Assessment, which must have been produced to support TAN 8, to see how these documents anticipated the impact on the community. Surely these impacts of the accumulated effect of these many applications which are now emerging must have been anticipated. But they may not now be fully relevant, as the proposed turbines are much larger than those anticipated at the time, and therefore the impact of these turbines could not have been assessed at that time.
My party is the largest group in the Assembly. I've got to say that my group have met and they are supporting the motion today. It may be in conflict with what is being said at the Assembly at the moment, but I think, and going back to Russell George's his view that he wanted all the groups to be unanimous, and I don't think we want to put ourselves in a situation that we wouldn't be supporting something that is of great concern to the people of Mid Wales. Now, I live in the Brecon Beacons National Park. I live in Ystrad, but just within the national park. And I think Viola Evans mentioned the fact that these sort of developments are excluded in national parks. Now, that puts a greater pressure on the rest of Mid Wales, doesn't it? There's much greater pressure, and that doesn't seem fair. That doesn't seem fair at all. Because as beautiful as the Brecon Beacons National Park is, and Snowdonia National Park is, and Pembrokeshire National Park is, it's no more beautiful than the rest of Mid Wales. So that argument doesn't wash in.
I sincerely hope that the Welsh Assembly and our government will listen to the voice of the people and democracy. We have had so much support from the people of this county, and especially from our lot outside Montgomeryshire. They've been absolutely fantastic. They came with us to Cardiff, over 2,000, I think Viola said it was over 2,000, I know she was there as well. And I do feel that the voice of democracy has not been heard. Democracy is government of the people, by the people, and most importantly, for the people.
I think it's a huge, big thank you to say to Powys County Council and the taxpayer out there who is going to be paying for this meeting today, that we have brought democracy to where these proposals are going to affect. Yeah. Now, in a meeting in Montgomeryshire, must be 3 months ago by now, we were having a little get-together to talk over these proposals, which were only just small issues then. We didn't know what was before us. And I said on that day, members, there's hardly a member in this chamber today that will not be affected by these proposals that are coming before us. And our chairman today, I can see, is nodding his head.
I had a planning application a few weeks ago that it was only a planning application for an access, and it was turned down because of visual impact. Or what would these be but visual impacts? I mean, so I hope that the planning committee, if these come about, remember things like that.
My job as councillor is to strive to work for the benefit of my constituents, to represent their views and fight on their behalf when issues such as this raise their ugly heads. In doing so, I want to make it clear that I fight on behalf of the county as a whole and will not be drawn into the game of playing one valley off against another. Members will be aware that the scale of what TAN 8 actually means for this area has only recently become apparent. It is such a flawed document that it contains little or no information on the practicalities of this green dream would actually mean to our natural green area.
We have been reminded that TAN 8 is 6 years old. TAN 8 is printed, is out of date. TAN 8 must be reviewed. The people of Powys, I believe, will take their share of any necessary pain to produce energy. But what the people of Powys will not accept is a disproportionate share of energy production. And as elected representatives, it is our duty to support them in their quest to review TAN 8. Chairman, I believe that hubs and pylons are unacceptable. I believe that the limit of wind energy should be limited to that which could be transmitted through existing infrastructure. Today, Chair, members must be united in asking for a review of TAN 8. Thank you.
Members have made very, very good points right through this meeting. But what we come back to time and time again, the recurring theme is that TAN 8 is no longer fit for purpose. TAN 8 needs to be reviewed, and it needs to be reviewed for all the reasons that we had in the motion. And we want the government, both in Cardiff and in Westminster, to listen to what we're saying and to take heed of what we're saying.
J.M. Williams. For. Mrs. A. York. To leave her apologies. Well, Chairman, that's...
So that's it. Everybody in this room except one abstention, that's it. Nobody... It's a clear majority mandate from this council. Clear mandate. Before I bring this meeting to a close, I was asked this morning, outside before this meeting started, where did I stand on this issue? Well, I can assure the constituent of mine, I stand solid behind what the council has done today. I've been a county councillor for a number of years, and I can honestly say that there's never been such an important issue that has concerned my constituents so much as this issue. And I think we've sent a very, very clear message to the Welsh Assembly today that the TAN 8 is outdated and it needs reviewing. Wind may have a future in small, just on your house and that, but it's quite clear what do you do when it's cold weather. It didn't blow when the wind was cold last winter. We had no energy produced. 18% of the time, I think David Jones said that. We need to look at green energy, sure. We could be looking, there was an article in the County Times about hydrogen. These all need to be looked at. I would say we have to look at all sources of energy, but it's not exactly all sources of energy. I hope it has worked well for you supporters outside, that you have seen what we have deliberated on in here. This is open democracy. This is what the people of Powys want to see. They want to see what their elected members are doing and seeing, and there's no question of it. This afternoon they have seen that, and I think that is very, very important.
The latest from the Welsh Assembly is that there is no indication that TAN 8 will be reviewed. But they are indicating that more cables should be put underground.
This machine will have eyes, ears, and a voice.